All right, this is the new fishing vehicle, new fishing and outdoor vehicle. This is a 2004 Suburban, and it's got a lot of miles on it. In general, it has a lot of miles on it. It's 185,000, but for this vehicle, that's actually not that bad because they have that 5.3, which is sort of like a legendary motor. The motor goes forever. And if you look up on YouTube, if you look up, 2000 to 2006 Suburban 5.3, you'll see a lot of people changing these into like overlanding or like off-road vehicles or basically camping vehicles, off-road camping vehicles. If you look up a company, which is a rather new company, it's called Suboverland, pretty much 90% of the Suburbans they use is this, the 2000 to 2006. Sometimes this also came in an 8.1. Sometimes they use that, but that's very rare and expensive. This actually is kind of the best of both worlds. It's very reliable and very cheap. And I got this one for extremely cheap because it has a bunch of problems in it, with it. One of which prevented it from getting inspected, which was knock sensor. So there was a check engine light on there. The knock sensor is a classic problem with this vehicle. One of the cool things about this, and one of the things that makes it so desirable, is the classic problems aren't killers. They're not killer problems. Like I said, the knock sensor, that's the only one that's going to prevent you from getting inspected. I actually just changed those. I changed out, there's 2 knock sensors and a wiring harness. I changed both those out, put it all back together again. I mean, you turn the key, boom, it started right up. No like choppiness. Sometimes when you change the knock sensor out, you're taking off the manifold, it can run choppy for maybe 5-10 minutes. Nothing. So that felt great. Another common problems with these is there's a PCM ground wire in the back of the engine. It gets loose and the whole thing runs ridiculously bad. This one does not have that. I reached back there. It's solid, which is nice. It does have ABS sensor problems. ABS sensor on the front 2 tires. What happens is they're like a magnetic sensor, and a bunch of dirt gets caked up in there, and the sensor dislodges. So usually what happens is that you need to get in there, pull it, clean it, and then you can put it back in, and it usually works. While you're in there, it's probably smart to just replace them. But yeah, that's on the front 2. I have that light coming on. I'll probably get in there and change that. Another problem is the motor, the blower motor for the AC/heat. That can go, but more so it's the regulator. The speed regulator can go. That's what usually goes. I'm not sure this one has that problem. I don't know if it's a regulator or the motor or both. I'll probably just replace both. There's no reason to go in there and not replace both. Going back to the knock sensor, if you're doing the job yourself, the knock sensors are like, if you get the real deal AC Delco, they're like 50 bucks each. The wiring harness is like 25 bucks. You're in there, just change the whole thing. It's not worth it. And other than that, common problem with these, obviously, as most vehicles, is rust. This one's got some rust, but it's not horrendous. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is that I'm going to get this thing fixed enough where it's going to get inspected. I'll start driving it around, and we'll see over the next 5,000 miles if it's as reliable as I think it's going to be. I bought this off my friend Zach, so I know pretty much the last 50,000 history. All he's done is change the oil regularly, and he did one big job to it, which is another common problem, is that all the brake lines rust out. They just, the salt dries them out, they crack, and they just disintegrate. That was changed less than 2,000 miles ago. He did 50,000 miles on it. The thing is in top, and he was guiding. So he guides for cross current. Cross current is Whitetail. Up in Starlight, Pennsylvania, he guides for them. And he used this thing 50,000 miles over the last, I don't know what it's been, maybe 2 seasons, 3 seasons, maybe 2.5 seasons, something like that. And it's kicked ass for him. So I was happy to take on this project because I believe in the model, I believe in the engine, I believe in the transmission. As of right now, what I'm going to be doing is that getting this in tip-top shape, run an order. Then once I feel like I'm happy, you can see I didn't really have time to turn the heat on. You could probably see my breath, but usually in the garage I have the heat on. But once I feel like it's solid, then I might tackle the rust. Now, the rust as far as the body panels are concerned, the rust for the frame is really, it's really kind of impossible to take care of that. I mean, you can go down there with a wire wheel and go nuts for like a week and then spray it. But in reality, like, I don't think it's as necessary as the body panels, let's say, as far as like the looks are concerned, because in reality, the car is old. It's still going to last a long time. The frame's going to last a long time. It's a heavy-duty frame. Even though there's rust on it, it's still going to last. But the body panels, if you want it to look nice, then you replace the body panels. And that rust can just travel very, very quickly on the body panel. So it's nice to just get it out of there. I'll show you quickly. The rust that we're dealing with. It's not that bad, to be honest with you. It's pretty much classic stuff. This is not much, but you can see right here and here and in the back right there, there's rust. This is not that bad. This might not need to be replaced. This might not just maybe just needs to be sanded and painted. This back here, this needs to be cut out and replaced for a couple of reasons, I think. Maybe not, I don't know. I'd have to talk to a body shop on what they think. This is just dirt here, but maybe they can sand this and paint it, but there's a dent here. So it's maybe not worth it. This bumper is rusted out. These things can be replaced very cheap. A few $100, you can pull this thing off and drop a new bumper on. There's some rust spots here on the hatch. This is a classic spot, always gets rusted right here. That's a sand and paint, no problem. Now this is a total cut out and replace because of how it's dented here. So they cut it here, and they just do a replacement piece and they put it right on there and they paint it. Now this is another one. This is going to have to be cut out. And you can see the rockers. I didn't show you that on the other side, but the rockers back here. Anything close to a rear wheel, if it's rear wheel drive, this is where you're going to get a lot of the rust. On the front, no rust because it's rear wheel drive and you're kicking up the salt. So this is probably going to be cut out. And other than that, that's it. Now I just pointed out a lot of rust spots, but in reality, that's not a lot. It's really not a lot. It's not that bad for a car with 185,000. And that, maybe some other things. We're talking cosmetic stuff right now. The seat, I got a new plate on order. I have some new reflectors on order. This seat, I'm going to think about replacing, but I'm not sure with what. I could go real crazy and I could get a new leather cover for it, or I could go vinyl. I'm not completely sure. I gotta think about it. It depends on how confident I am in the vehicle. If I'm super confident, then I'll go with leather. This is the back seat. It's a bench. It's not chairs. You know what I mean? The chairs are good, but we'll take the bench. The bench is in good quality shape. Even though it was guided in, it's in good quality shape. There's reflector missing here, and there's some tape residue that was on here. I can take that off. That's not a problem. This vinyl, I can spray some stuff on there, like goo removal stuff. And I mean, that's really what we're into right here. It's going to be a fun project. There's one other issue. I almost tripped over an extension cord. The tires seem to be losing air. And I think they're just not seated right, or something is going on. But I filled these up maybe 3 weeks ago, and you can see this one's low. That one's holding, but it was low. The one on this side is holding, but it was low. The one in the back is okay. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I probably got to bring it to somebody. And I think the last thing I'll probably do is, if I really believe in it, I'm going to probably put a leveling 2-inch leveler kit on it, get it up a little bit higher, and put some bigger tires on it. Probably a 2-inch. If you look at the Suboverland vehicles, they do a 2-inch kit, and they use Bilstein 5100 shocks. And then they obviously replace the tires and rims. And I will probably replace the tires for sure, but I may just keep the rims. I don't really care too much about that. But the height adjustment might be real nice for basically a lot of the hunting roads that we go on with the dogs. These things are terrible, like absolutely terrible. So I think, you know, getting a little extra height might be nice, and maybe even some I don't know, some guards for the underneath might be good too. So that's it. You know what? Let me pop the hood and show you the engine. And honestly, this is kind of like what made me buy it from my friend Zach. That's Zach Anderson. That's his name. Is Flyfish Backcountry. I think that's what it is on Instagram. But he had it. It was sitting. He has like almost like a brand new Colorado, and he's been using that. And this thing's just been sitting in his driveway for a month. I came over one day to drop off some tools or pick something up or something. And I was like, what are you doing with this thing? He's like, I don't know. He's like, you want it? I'm like, well, do you have the keys? I mean, can you start it up? And he's like, all right, yeah, I haven't started it in a month. He goes in the keys, he turns it on, boom, starts right up. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it from you. So if you look in here, and if you look at the bottom, it's very, let me get some lighting here for you. But I can tell you, there's not a drop of oil anywhere on this thing. And when I saw that, I was like, you know what? There's not a drop of oil. That's, I mean, that's what I want to see. Not a drop of oil. And I took off all this stuff to replace the knock sensor, and it really did. Other than a lot of chewed up acorns. A lot of chewed up acorns. Other than that, I mean, this thing was just super, super, super clean. And, you see an engine like that, that's the one you want. I'm telling you, trust me. If there's one simple thing to look for is when you look at an engine, and if you don't see any oil on it, and you look underneath the car and you don't see any drops, that's really the car you want. I mean, all the other stuff you can mess with. But, blown motor, those aren't too fun. They're very expensive to change, obviously. So I would say go for the good-looking motor, other than all the other stuff. This is a great-looking motor, solid motor. Yeah, it has some cosmetic problems. But you know what? The cosmetic problem doesn't prevent it from driving. So that's it. That's where we're at with this. And probably going to be doing some more videos on this as we work on it. I think it's going to be a fun project, obviously, since, the kid's here. So it's, staying home projects will probably be in the cards. But it's going to be a lot less fishing, unfortunately, more tying, more working on the house, more working on the car. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you know, also, I have that Silverado. I have that red Silverado. Why am I buying a fishing vehicle if I already have a fishing vehicle? Well, I'm probably going to have to get rid of the Silverado. The Silverado it's 2018. It's got 60,000 miles on it. It's been a great truck for me. It's like a base model truck, no frills or anything like that. But I just need more of like what I need is a brand new Suburban. That's what I need. But when I do get that car, I'm not going to be using it for fishing. You can't use that thing for fishing. A brand new Suburban or Tahoe or something like that, you can't use that for fishing. So that's why I need more of a knockaround car like this, where I can just throw the dogs in there, throw the gear in there, and not have to worry. So that's where we're at. 2004 for Suburban, 5.3. More videos to come. Thanks.